Hello, Nick Georgalis here. I am the author of the book God and Wealth, The Rise and Fall of Nations. In this video, I will present a basic model of an economy built from scratch, which is unencumbered by government interference. For this, I draw upon my research for my book. I examine income inequality in such an economy. While it is practically impossible to eliminate income inequality without destroying an economy, I will nevertheless show that income inequality in this basic unencumbered economy is minimal. I will further show that such an economy satisfies the needs of all individuals while creating optimal wealth. I will then use this model as a benchmark against actual economies by comparing income inequality in this idealized model with income inequality in actual economies. I will then show that government interference in any economy results in greater income inequality than is the case in my idealized model. I will further argue that eliminating government interference in the economy will reduce income inequality to its lowest possible level while creating great wealth. The characteristics of an unencumbered economy include a random distribution of income-producing processes. Each process produces outputs or products and services which satisfy the needs and wants of others. In such an economy, prices of goods and services are determined by supply and demand, and profit is determined by efficiency. Efficiency is the application of intellectual capital to the problems of manufacturing, mining, and service provision. Accordingly, income distribution is therefore a function of the distribution of intelligence in an economy. In other words, and generally speaking, the more intelligent an individual, the greater his income. The assumption here is that the more intelligent an individual, the more likely he will find ways to solve the problems of survival, and the more likely he will be to produce goods and services needed by others. In an unencumbered economy, incomes are normally distributed, whereby the normal distribution corresponds to the normal distribution of IQ within the economy and nations. In general, the higher the IQ of an individual, the greater the income, and the lower the IQ, the smaller the income. Thus, the standard deviation or distribution of income is directly correlated with the standard deviation of the IQ distribution. In a normal distribution, the mean income is equal to the median income. The greater the difference between the mean and median income of an economy, then the greater the income inequality as compared to the normal distribution. An unencumbered economy consisting of random income-producing processes gives rise to normally distributed incomes with median family income equal to mean family income. The greater the separation between median and mean family income, then the greater the interference of government in any economy. Also, the greater the separation between median family income and mean family income, the greater the income inequality, and the more likely civil unrest will ensue. Comparing the difference between the mean and median family incomes for nations with average IQs greater than 94 shows that the median family income is always less than the mean family income. In this chart, the nations are organized by their average IQ. Note, income inequality, as measured by the difference between mean and median family incomes, is independent of the national IQ in these encumbered economies. In other words, income inequality exceeding the income inequality of the ideal economic model or an unencumbered economy is not a function of intelligence. Rather, as we will see, it is a function of government interference in the economy. Note also that according to this indicator, the United States, at $7,647, has the greatest income inequality in comparison to the other nations. Slovakia, at $468, has the least income inequality. In all cases, the income inequality is greater than it would be otherwise if the economies were unencumbered. In the case of the United States, the elimination of government interference in the economy has the greatest potential to create great wealth. This is because as government interference in the economy is reduced, the median family income approaches the mean family income. This in turn creates great wealth. In this chart, I show the relationship between government spending and income inequality across 41 nations with an average IQ of 90 or greater. Note that there is a positive correlation with a correlation coefficient of 0.4095, which is significant and which illustrates that increased government spending leads to greater income inequality across all developed nations. That is, with nations whose population has an average IQ greater than 90. Unlike nations with average IQs of less than 90, national income is more a function of the productive capacity or intellectual capital of the population. Accordingly, a reduction in government spending in such nations will lead to a reduction in income inequality and greater wealth creation. For nations with average IQ less than 90, the correlation between government spending and income inequality is much smaller, so reductions in government spending for these nations will have little effect on income inequality. Similarly, increases in government spending will also have little effect on income inequality. Many of these nations rely on the exploitation of their natural resources for income, which is independent of the average IQ of the population, and therefore of the productive capacity of the individuals. In this chart, I show the relationship between the national average IQ and percent of GDP derived from natural resources. Note the roughly negative correlation between average IQ and increasing percentage of GDP from natural resources. This supports the argument that nations with lower IQs increasingly rely on their natural resources for income, while nations with higher average IQs rely more on the productive capacity of the individuals within the nation. These two charts compare the real U.S. GDP to mean family income and median family income from 1953 to 2022. Note there is a closer correlation between the real GDP and real mean family income, 0.9397, than between real GDP and real median family income, 0.8599. Note that growth in mean family income is a measure of growth in the upper income brackets, whereas growth in median family income is a measure of growth in the lower income brackets. These charts indicate in general that under government policy since 1953 and extending through 2022, growth in the U.S. economy has benefited those in the upper income brackets more than in the lower income brackets. So not all income levels have benefited equally from the growth in the U.S. economy since at least 1953. As I will show in subsequent slides, it is the growth in government spending and regulation that has led to increasing income inequality. That is, a larger difference between mean and median family incomes since at least after World War II. Income inequality in an encumbered economy is measured by the difference between real mean family income and real median family income. The further an economy is removed from an unencumbered or laissez-faire economy, the greater the difference between the mean and median family incomes. This chart illustrates the annual level of real mean family income and real median family income every year since 1953. It also shows the difference. As we see here, the difference has increased linearly since 1953. The rate of increase is about $453 annually, and the correlation coefficient is 0.95. In other words, income inequality in the United States has increased and continues to increase since at least 1953. As I will show, increasing income inequality is directly correlated to the increase in the size of government and its interference in the economy. This chart compares annual U.S. government spending with income inequality since 1953 as measured by the difference between mean family income and median family income in constant dollars. The correlation coefficient is 0.89, which is very significant. As a corollary to this, the reduction of government spending will reduce income inequality. The faster the reduction, the faster that income inequality will also decrease. This chart compares income inequality as measured by the difference between mean family income and median family income to the number of pages of federal regulations between 1976 and 2022. The correlation coefficient is 0.92. Just as in the case of government spending, there is a linear relationship between income inequality and the number of pages of federal regulations. In other words, reducing the number of regulations will reduce income inequality. In summary, by first assuming an unencumbered economy which consists of an aggregation of random processes and applying the principles of reducing government spending and government regulations, in other words, government interference in the economy, I have shown empirically that a reduction of income inequality will thus result. Maintaining a path of increasing government interference in the economy through increasing government spending and regulations will lead to greater income inequality and eventually civil unrest and rebellion. The limits to the reduction of income inequality is the unencumbered economy. As I said, an unencumbered economy is an economy free from government interference. Government interference includes taxation, spending, and regulation. In an unencumbered economy, mean family income equals median family income. Income in an unencumbered economy is normally distributed based on the IQ distribution within the economy. In such an economy, income inequality is a function solely of the productive capacity of the individuals comprising the economy, and mean income equals median income. Accordingly, income inequality is minimized and great wealth is created. In this presentation, I have demonstrated that income inequality is driven by government interference in the economy. Income inequality is not a result of capitalism or corporate greed, as many others would have you believe. Although never completely eliminated in a free enterprise and unencumbered economy, income inequality will be greatly reduced by reducing government interference in the economy. This can be done by eliminating the present taxation system and replacing it with a head tax, and by replacing government regulations by market forces. Also, returning to the gold standard will spur productivity growth and place further boundaries on government's tendency to tax and spend. If you like more detailed information on this subject and similar subjects, see my book, God and Wealth, The Rise and Fall of Nations. Thank you for listening.